If you all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I'd like to ask everybody to stand for a second. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to inform everybody that, with deep regret, a long-time member of our community, Jerry Herbst, who sat on the Zoning Board of Appeals since the mid-'80s, and then for a short time sat on the town board, actually not such a short time, passed away 2 days ago. So if we could just observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Antoinette, can we have a roll call?
Mr. Burns?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Rogan?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here. Can I get a motion on the reports?
I make a motion that the town board accept the reports on the agenda of April 13, 2016.
Speak up, you're not getting picked up on the mic. Pull the mic
So
in.
moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Can I get a motion on the supervisor's report?
I'll make a motion the town board approve the supervisor's report of February 2016. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Can I get a motion on the minutes? Going once?
I'll take it. Okay. I will make a motion that we approve the minutes of the public hearing for the Patterson map plan and the report to establish and extend the Patterson Hamlet Sewer District of March 9th, 2016. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Make a motion to approve the public hearing for the local law number 3 appearance tickets March 9th, 2016, the bid opening for highway materials of this March 16th, 2016, the bid opening for the seasonal lawn and landscaping March 6th, 2016, or I'm sorry, April 6th, and the bid opening for seasonal lawn maintenance and landscaping for the Putnam Lake Park District for April 6th, 2016. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I'll move that we approve the town board meeting minutes of March 23rd, 2016. So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion that the town board approve abstract number 6 dated March 23rd, 2016 in the amount of $451,561.58. So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so as we talked about last meeting, it was a little bit of a rough winter for our roads, not so much with the snow and ice, but with litter. And the town is looking a little shabby. And what we talked about is maybe doing a spring cleanup. So, you have in front of you a flyer. We are considering doing Saturday, May 30th, and Sunday, May 1st as Patterson cleanup days.
Do you mean April 30th?
April 30th,
Got it.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
Anybody have any comments on this?
I think it's a great idea.
Well, and I know, like, for instance, on Couch Road, there are some propane containers, there are car seats, there's couches. If we get them out of the woods and up to the edge and put them with, bags, will sanitation be able to pick those up? I mean, those are things usually you'd be picking up, like for a bulk pickup.
I'm sure we can talk to sanitation and possibly get the smaller items picked up. Russ, any thoughts about larger items such as couches and?
Yeah, on Couch Road, I know I got those cylinders, the propane ones,
Okay.
about a month ago.
Okay.
I realized there was still a couch there, I had to grab that too.
There's like a car seat from a Dodge Caravan. It's just weird stuff that gets. I guess Couch Road was where you left your couch when you had no other place to put it. So.
Yeah, if it's by the side of the road, I'll get it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right, so you wanna move forward with this?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'll do Couch Road.
I'm hoping that everybody does a little bit more. What we're gonna need is everybody in the community to, pitch in. We've created this nice little flyer. I don't know if you can get it, Paul.
Just stop moving it.
You got it? Okay. We'll push this out everywhere, and starting tomorrow, we're going to start reaching out to all the organizations. Maybe we can reach out to Putnam Lake Fire Department, Putnam Lake Park District, and the Rotary tonight, and ask for their assistance and maybe their cooperation. We will be passing out bags on those 2 days, always looking for volunteers to help pass out bags. Actually, the week before. We're going to start passing them out the week before. So anybody who is interested in cleaning up along your road, please come to Town Hall. We'll provide you bags to do so. And then afterwards, we'll arrange to get them all picked up.
Yeah, you might want to share one with Carmel High School and Brewster High School, because kids who are looking for Honor Society need the volunteer hours. So that might be a thing for the kids too. It's not the worst thing to do.
Okay.
Pick up some trash.
And anybody who is representing an organization or knows an organization that's going to be out there, if you let us know, we'll run around, we'll take some photographs, get some publicity.
I'm going to see if I can get a loaner supply for that weekend of safety vests from the county, because that might be a good thing to have available to people if they're going to be along the road too. We certainly don't want anyone getting hurt. Hopefully they won't be out on main roads, but I'd be concerned about that.
All right,
So-
well, we can talk about that. I'm not so sure if we want to do loaner vests and then count on them coming back,
Okay, good point.
so.
Yeah, because then there's always a problem collection. Well, I wonder if there's a place we can buy
We can
very
buy that.
inexpensive,
And we've done it
disposable-
before.
Okay, I think that'd be a great idea.
Okay.
All right.
So next item on my agenda is some purchase of 2 pumps for the Front Street Pump Station. About 6 weeks ago now, both pumps on the Front Street Pump Station burned out.
Wow.
And this is a little bit of an expensive item. We got a quote from the person who does most of the repairs, who has always been very reasonable with us. The cost to replace the 2 pumps was a little over $21,000. Recognizing that cost, we actually went out and started looking for other prices. We found that Universal Electric Motor gave us the best price. They were $10,467 a pump. Currently, we've stolen pumps from 2 other pump stations to keep this thing going.
Wow.
Actually, one other. We did some temporary repairs on one of the pumps, and we stole a pump out of one of the other pump stations. So we've got basically 2 pump stations now running with 1 pump. So we need to get this
on
taken
this,
care of.
yeah.
Yeah.
How old were they? Were they older pumps? Or, I mean,
They were the older pumps that we had. They were from Front Street, which was put in the 98.
No, so definitely not a warranty.
No warranty on it.
Sounds like we got our use out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a resolution in front of you, and I'd like to introduce the resolution. Without objection, we'll enter it as though read. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. This is a little bit of a complicated issue, and I'd like to start the conversation here, and then I imagine because it has to do with union negotiations, we can continue it in executive session. But essentially, under the Federal Fair Labor Standard Act, we are required to pay time and a half for all overtime over 40 hours. Where it gets a little complicated is that the Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA, requires us to also include in the regular rate of pay certain benefits that are received by the union. Apparently, they found out last year around August that we weren't including the longevity that we provide to our employees into calculation of the regular rate of pay. So, they notified the union and they started making the calculations, and the union came back and said, you're not doing it right. We were doing it according to FLSA. They said, you have to do it according to the union contract, which the fundamental difference here is FLSA says that you have to figure in the longevity based on the actual hours worked and not include certain additional time, such as personal time, vacation time, and holiday time. And the union's position is that, yes, you do have to include it. The basic difference is about a tenfold increase in the amount that we would own for FLSA overtime. My position is, and I'm going to give everybody a memo, I haven't had a chance to complete it yet, is that the statutory requirement under FLSA is entirely separate from the contractual issue that the town has with the union. They are separate issues. My position is supported by certain cases that have been decided by the Supreme Court. I think I'm on solid ground. And that we need to calculate out both methods, both the FLSA overtime method and the contractual method. And that if under FLSA we owe them additional payments, that we need to make those payments. But if we do not owe them anything additional, then we're not going to pay.
Sure.
I didn't think longevity was qualified as pay per se.
It absolutely is.
It is, okay.
There's no
Okay.
question about that from any source that
Okay.
we've discussed.
And the longevity payments in the town of Patterson are not added to base. They're like a bonus type payment.
Correct.
So they're a one-time payout per year that someone gets, not added to base and not compounding per se,
Correct.
right?
Right, they're added to they're issued upon the anniversary date.
Okay.
So,
How far back would we be liable?
well, that's also the $64 question. Under FSLA, there is a statutory look-back period of 2 years. Under contractual obligation, as you're all aware, I'm sure, that the look-back period is 6 years.
Yeah, 6. Okay.
So, substantial difference. So the process with any grievance that we receive from the union, first goes to the highway superintendent, he's reviewed it, he's passed it on. I need to make a determination and pass it off to the town board as a whole. And then, you know, the third step is you will make a determination, and then we will see where we go.
Okay.
All right, and so we'll
Makes
talk
sense.
about this a little bit more in executive session. And then also possibly, because Trish, our controller, has done a tremendous amount of work. She's talked with the Department of Labor in understanding how to make these FLSA calculations, because it's a very complicated method to do it. Maybe if you want to set up a work session
Session with
that
her.
we would do as an executive session, because it is union negotiations, you know, and get a better handle on exactly what FLSA is and how to make the calculations.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Sure.
All right. So, next on my agenda is the Length of Service Awards Program for the Fire Department. I just want to let everybody know that we received all the information we needed from the fire department concerning the points that all the members made, and we received it in a timely fashion. The fire departments were excellent working with us and getting us that information. And the reports have been submitted now into BFIS so that they can update their database and award everybody another year of service, those that have earned their 50 points. I also want to let the board know that this year, in working with the two fire departments and going through the point system, that there seems to be a little bit of a confusion about exactly what constitutes points, what constitutes the different categories, especially in the area of what do I want to say? Well, standby for one. Also in education, where you get points. So I intend to, when things quiet down a little bit, as I hope they will, then I'm going to sit with the two fire departments and we're going to go through the point system and try to resolve some of these issues. So,
Sounds
okay.
good.
Okay, when you finish, I just have a comment when you're done with your little section. Or maybe I should say it now. I just noticed that on the reports, it said that, in the fire department reports, that we did not receive anything from Putnam Lake, when in effect we did.
Patterson.
Patterson.
No, we received it from Putnam Lake.
We received it from Putnam Lake. Oh.
Actually, that's a, you know what? I think that's an older version.
All right, so I have an old,
Yeah, so we did receive the reports from Putnam Lake. We we have an updated agenda. What are you working off of?
What does it say?
Yeah, you're
This
working
is,
off the...
One that was
January,
in
March.
Okay, first quarter.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so we do have that. We have not received it from Patterson.
Here's an extra.
Or did we? No, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
I have two more issues, two more items. One is an executive session personnel. I've got a personnel issue to discuss with the board that will defer to the end of the agenda. And then also I would like to, actually, why don't I just do it under other business? I've got one issue for other business that we'll talk about. Okay? All right.
There you go. All right, first item on my agenda is a resolution. We had previously at a March 23rd town board meeting accepted a bid for tree work from Laurel Oak Landscaping, who was actually I think the second lowest bidder. And we had not accepted the bid from Barney Zipkin Tree Service due to the fact that there were certain, we perceived deficiencies with regards to references. Upon further review, it's my understanding we found that the references were provided, they did check out, and so now based upon those references, we believe that Barney Zipkin Tree Services would be the lowest responsible bidder. And so I'm going to move a resolution as read that basically will rescind our prior acceptance of the bid for tree work for Laurel Oak Landscaping and award it to the lowest responsible bidder, Barry Zipkin Tree Service. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next item on my agenda is the Auction International. As the Highway Department frequently does, they advertise various lots of materials and equipment. There were 4 lots that were put out for bid, and we received bids for Lot 1 of $1,225, Lot 2 of $204, Lot 3 $1,060, and Lot 4 $400. And so I'm going to make a motion to move a resolution allowing the Highway Department to accept the bids for the 4 lots as outlined in the resolution. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next item on my agenda is I think we addressed this at our last meeting, but there is a resident of Putnam Lake who is being charged for receiving a tax bill for $383.89 for services, and is also being billed a monthly charge by Suburban Carting for garbage. I thought we had addressed it at our last meeting, and I wasn't sure what further action we need to take.
Well, we
but-
had talked about it at the last meeting.
Okay.
And essentially, we had reached the opinion that whatever we're going to do here, we need to do uniformly between the 2 districts.
Right.
Today, late this afternoon, I did finally get a list of all the other potential properties. There are 17 properties listed here.
Okay.
That also are in the same situation where they have a mix of commercial and residential. They are having their commercial component of their property picked up by a private carter.
Okay.
They're having the residential picked up by the town. In going through this, we found 3 or 4 properties that are both residential and commercial, similar to these properties,
Okay.
which actually aren't having any town pickup.
Okay.
So we need to wrestle with
Decide
that.
which way we're going to go.
But we also need to, at this point, I think, internally as a board, decide whether we're going to allow them to all opt out or all stay in, which we can do.
Has
And
any-
it's being done by a benefit basis.
Yeah, I think the underlying theory is that it's the property, not so much the occupants of the property, that determine whether or not they can opt out. The fact is that they're within the district. Decisions are made with regard to the contract for the garbage pickup based on number of units, and the individual circumstances of the landowner is really not a factor to take it into account, because the benefit to the property is established by inclusion in the district. So and the only exceptions to that we've really been able to see are instances where, for example, in a district, a subdivision approval may have been adopted, and conditions of that subdivision approval allow for some variation from the benefit district services. So that's we all have to consider it a little bit more as to how to do it. And in theory, I would think either the board on its own motion or by petition of these landowners, there could be a petition to have them excluded. But there should be some, we just can't allow them to opt out based on their contractual arrangements.
Do we have to give notice to them before we take action so they can be heard on whether they have a position, or it doesn't really matter what?
Yeah, we'd have to really look at it, Kevin, because the board on its own motion can do it, but the standard typically for a district is percentage of ownership of lands within a district. It will be a fairly complicated matter. I don't think we could just say we have a petition from 7 landowners to opt out after we've created a district that takes those properties into account in the initial public hearing, setting up the district, and all of the budgetary considerations that have gone on. We really would have to look at how it could be accomplished.
Yeah, there are certainly financial issues related to all this that we need to take a hard look at.
I mean, we have a contract for a pickup that has been bid
Counted those
based on
households.
number of units.
Right.
As one instance.
Don, would you agree that though, and before I do that, Don has done a great memo on all this, so you have it in your packets, but would you agree that we could amend the district to exclude a certain class? In other words, we could keep all the 210 properties, all the 311 properties, which are basically all the residential properties.
I think the actual, that type of designation would be probably definite enough to do it that way. It's just the
But it's an
procedure for coming to that
Right.
conclusion. So I don't think there'll be a lot of attendant expense as far as, maps and plans that typically are done when we establish a district. But a designation like that would be I think a clear, definitive way of earmarking the properties that are going to be out. So.
Before we get to that laundry list that you had, I think we have to answer Mr. Lee here and tell him, based on, Don's research,
Yes,
that he's got to do what he's got to do.
yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
yes.
And then we can deal with others.
Correct.
So what's our plan going forward then? Just we'll wait for you to.
Well, no, the plan going forward, I think, is now that we've got a list of properties, we have to
Look at each property.
clarify that list, and we have to look at what the financial impact is to the district.
Yeah, the business side first.
Because when I said 17 properties, that's between the 2 districts, so we have to take a
Okay.
look at both of them. And, certainly we can do it for one district, not the other, correct?
Correct?
Yeah, so
I think so.
we're solid there. And then we have to decide whether we want them in or out.
Okay. So
Okay.
just table it or continue it to the next meeting, or?
Continue it to the next meeting, but,
Okay.
put your thinking caps on about, how you feel about this, what we're gonna do for policy.
It's not a huge number of houses, but everything it might be prudent to couch it in terms of the length of the contract also. Maybe it could be effective as of the expiration of the contract, so that when we rebid it, it's
If we make any changes to the district whatsoever, they could only take effect, January 1st.
Yep.
So,
All right.
okay.
All righty. So we'll table or continue that over to the next
Yep.
meeting. Next item on the agenda is setting a public hearing for the fire protection contracts with the Putnam Lake and Patterson Fire Departments. We have 2 contracts, one in the amount of $814,000 and one in the amount of $301,000 for the 2016 calendar year. So I'll make a motion to move the resolution as read, setting the public hearing for, will that be the next town board meeting?
Yes.
For the next town board meeting, which I believe is 2 weeks hence, I think. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next item on my agenda is a request from Highway for purchase of equipment. Their Highway is seeking to purchase a small excavator that they believe will be of immediate use to the Highway Department, as well as going forward with some of the MS4 work that we need to do. We're looking at purchasing a Model 305 CR excavator with a Caterpillar engine. Looks like prices were obtained The lowest being from,
HO pen.
was it HO Pen?
Mhm. Yes.
From HO Pen. So I'll make a motion, and what?
Yeah, let's have a bit of a conversation before you do that.
Okay.
Just so you know, I modified your resolution. Have you taken a look at that?
I have not, I haven't seen it, but one is, Kevin, that it's, I'll take a quick look.
And Russ is back. Russ, you want to talk about your excavator?
I just walked in. What about it? Like my needs, the amount?
Whatever you'd like to say to convince us that it's a great thing to do.
We could really use this mini excavator for our MS4 projects, clean out these retention ponds that haven't been cleaned out in 20 plus years, and it would certainly help doing our regular work, pipe jobs and things like that so much faster. I've been getting loaner machines, and they're twice as fast as the backhoe. doing
Russ, you
work.
have a list of all these retention ponds?
I do,
You do?
yes.
Hi there.
All right.
Yes,
So-
I've been out, I've documented every retention pond that the town has created.
Are three of them on my property?
Huh?
Are three of them on my property?
Yeah, but they're not the town's responsibility, so I'm okay with that.
That's-
Buy an excavator?
Where's Bruce?
I'm
There's
thinking
Bruce.
they are.
So, yeah, we have.
Can I borrow your excavator?
We have many ponds. Some of them are privately held, some of them are publicly held or held within districts. We have a lot of back maintenance because nobody's been maintaining these all these years. And DEC has clearly said that it is the town's responsibility to either maintain or cause to be maintained. So,
The DEC, so we have to spend $80,000 for an excavator that the DEC is basically requiring us to get to maintain stormwater ponds that they say we need. But I noticed they want to use one of our rooms for free, don't they?
And that they do, and $80,000 is probably the tip of the iceberg when you start talking about the manpower over
Sure.
time. And this is a piece of equipment which is going to greatly assist us on meeting our MS4 obligation, which we are way behind on, and could be subject to fines for not being up to snuff. But some of these ponds are going to require some very specialized equipment that we're not going to have. We may have to rent or lease from time to time.
Russ, do you have room in the new shed or in one of your buildings for the new excavator? So it won't be out in the rain? Okay.
Yeah. And I want to point out one of the things that Russ had brought to my attention. He tried a demo machine out recently, and he found that he was putting pipe, he was changing out drainage pipe probably 25 to 40% quicker than he was with a regular backhoe, because these machines are so versatile. And I was really excited because I thought Patterson was going to be the first one to own one of these things, and only to find out we're probably going to be the last. That every other municipality has one of these machines, because they've all found that they provide great benefits to the community.
Okay.
So,
We can't borrow anybody's, so we really should have our own. And the commitment is to do these ponds.
right, and I was out on one of the ponds today where a property owner had expressed some concerns about the condition of the pond. I was out there with Russ, and it's probably going to be one of the first that we try this machine out on. Now, having said all that, the town attorney has some concerns about how we've gone about this, because it was a modified,
Put out to bid.
it was a modified bidding process by the highway superintendent, not a formal bidding process by the town.
And a purchase through a national cooperative that has established contracts with numerous states and municipalities. Technically not with New York State or with our municipality, but it is as you can see from the invoice that was attached, there's significant discounts that are available through it, and I think Russ feels very confident, based on the research he did on others, that it is a very good price. The MS4 angle definitely speaks a bit to the urgency of our need to be in compliance. So while not technically from a state contract as the procurement
Do
policy
we know if this
states,
is on the state contract?
It is not.
it's not on a New York State contract. New York State has at least one, I believe, more than one contract with the same cooperative.
Okay.
So it's part of an overall purchasing plan that results in significant savings across the board, but just not technically on point. But the reference to Rich having changed something was the inclusion of the MS4 requirements, which are legitimate ones that the town has an obligation for. So there is an emergency exclusion in the procurement policy that arguably this might fit under because we're not currently in compliance with the MS4 requirements.
The other change I made to the resolution is in recognizing that even though it wasn't a strictly formal bidding process, we did obtain multiple quotes to make sure that this was the best value for the town.
Do we know if these other municipalities, did they just buy it the same way that we're looking at? Or we
In
don't?
similar methods, I'm sure. Well,
All right, no, all right,
you know,
fine.
John Deere is on the state bid.
Mhm.
John Deere is generally a cheaper machine, but it's a cheaper machine in different facets. It costs less, but it is a cheaper machine.
Mhm.
You know, Komatsu is, you know, probably top of the line. No,
Mhm.
Mr. Gagliardo does not think so, but they're a very good machine, but they're also the most expensive. So, you know, and one of the benefits of going with the machine that Russ has spec'd out is it has a Caterpillar engine. And most of the fleet over there have Caterpillar engines, so we're standardizing what we're doing here.
Okay.
I just have one concern / complaint. Russ, when you go out on these test runs, you have to invite people to go with you. I mean, you know, that sounds like too much fun. I realize I'm not the liaison to the, you know, to your department, but I formally request to be one of the liaisons for next year.
Well, then it's going to be you and me.
Okay. Because I would have went along for that one. But no, I think this is a great purchase. And Russ, you take care of your equipment over there, so that's the most important thing as well. And I don't like to borrow anything from other municipalities to do the work that this town has to do. So I support this.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion to move the resolution as read, and one other note, just that in terms of expenditures, we would be using $48,000 from capital equipment and moving $24,500 from road work to cover the cost of the purchase, so it's within Russ's budget. So on that basis, I'll make a motion to move the resolution of as read, authorizing the purchase of the excavator as outlined. So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next item is Putnam Lake Park Advisory Board requests. We have non-bid procurement requests for the purchase of blacktop dugout fences and 35 by 8 foot fence. Several requests for bids were obtained, and it looks like we only received one response from Duke Fence. Is that right, Pat?
Yes.
So we had solicited bids from 3 other vendors but didn't receive a response. So I'll make a motion to approve the award of the above outlined services for a sum not to exceed $8,800 from Duke Fence, who provided a bid in response to our request. So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes.
Pat, the 3 prices that you have here, none of them are for the beach, the fence that got damaged on the beach, are they?
No,
Okay, all right,
it didn't happen. I mean, it happened Monday.
okay.
Okay. Next item is a non-bid.
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Any opposed?
Sorry. Next item is a non-bid procurement request for red clay. 3 bid requests were sent out. 2 bidders did not respond, and the responding bidder was Carrere Materials LLC for 23 tons of clay at $80 a ton for a sum of $1,840.
I'm sorry. It's just, I didn't know. Jim, why is clay so expensive?
what's it for, a baseball field?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a totally different.
totally different product.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the red clay from Carreri Materials LLC for some not to exceed $1,840. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Last non-bid procurement request is for White Beach Sand, delivered to Warren and Jackson Beaches. 3 bids were obtained, and the lowest responsible bidder was DEH Asphalt Paving and Excavation. The total amount was 66 tons for a sum of $3,575. So I'll make a motion to approve the award of the bid to DEH Asphalt and Paving as outlined. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I have one item to add to my agenda, budget transfer requests. Sure, to make a motion. Motion, second.
All in favor?
Aye. I have several budget transfer requests. Budget transfer request 11 is for, as in between contingent account and unallocated insurance for the sum of $3,769. This is related to additional funds for property and liability coverage for our policy, a change in policy amounts. Budget transfer request 12 is for a transfer of $1,824 between state retirement and unallocated insurance, also related to the change in cost of coverage. Budget transfer request 13 is for $1,646 between state retirement and insurance, also having to do with the changes in our policy costs. Budget transfer request 14 is for Park District related to the insurance change, sum of $501 between park contractual and unallocated insurance. And budget transfer request 15 is for the sum of $250 between the Alpine and Fox Run water contractual to unallocated insurance. So I'll make a motion to approve those budget transfer requests as outlined. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, by way of a little bit of an explanation, what happened here is our insurance came in almost 8% higher than we had anticipated it was going to come in. That was due directly to our insurance company sending an appraiser out who appraised all the buildings and then provided the report to the town last year.
Right, I remember that.
I'm going to dispute a lot of the appraisals that we got back.
When was the appraisal done?
The appraisal was done, I think, the middle of 2014, and we received it back, I think, August of last year.
So the new building that you built, Russ, wasn't included in that. They're gonna.
That's, the 2 new buildings are
Two new
not on there
buildings.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not on there yet, but, we've got the pavilion at the park, and, they're saying, praising that at like $200,000. Some of them were a little high. So I'm working on trying to get that number down a little bit.
That's all
That's
on
it.
my agenda.
Next, we have a request from an employee to reclassify a couple of days that this person used as sick days, to reclassify them as vacation days, so that be able to carry over hours that will be needed in the very near future. So I'll just make a motion that the town board approve this carryover, or this change of classification of days as per the memo of March 31st, 2016. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have on the agenda is a permit request from public assembly permit to host a Putnam Wine and Food Festival on Route 311 in August. They sent a application in and duly received in the supervisor's office. The supervisor has drafted up a 13-point Marshall Plan that in response, and that would was missing from the application or needed further clarification. And I would suggest an additional 2 items to be added. One advising the permit requester that a public hearing is required by town code before this permit, this type of permit can either be approved or denied, and that all information requested in this memo needs to be in the supervisor's office prior to the town board scheduling a public hearing. So I think that supervisor's comments were on spot, and adding those 2 little items makes it very clear that we cannot act on the request until the points are responded to, and then we have a public hearing, and then we decide yay or nay.
On a positive note, this, we all I think remember last year, there was no permit application, and we had to retain counsel and incur some legal fees, so I think this is certainly a step in the right direction. At least there was a permit application,
Yes.
and there's a dialogue, so I think that's encouraging.
You're right.
So I agree with
And we're
you.
going to try to keep that dialogue flowing. I did hear from Don's office. You want to do it?
No, go right ahead, Rich. I just wanna make sure.
There were conditions that were attached last year to some of the legal action that occurred. I wasn't privy to anything that happened last year with that public hearing, because at that point I was running for office against the person who was having the event.
Not a public hearing.
Oh, we didn't have a
Discussions.
public hearing.
Okay.
You said public
All
hearing, in connection with the proceedings that
Proceedings,
ensued.
thank you. So I was made aware of that today. I'm going to look those up and probably incorporate them into the memo as well.
Yeah, traffic control was one, I think.
Yeah,
And
that was a
there were
big
one or
one.
2 others. So.
Okay,
So,
cool.
okay.
Next, we have a request. You have the letter. No. A request from DEC to use this meeting room for a meeting.
Want me to jump in?
On when? Yeah, I
The
do, but I
meeting,
don't
the
have
meeting
it.
will be held March 20th, May 20th, May 20th. I thought it was May 20th. Okay, May 19th at 7 PM. I got that right. 6 to 8. Thank goodness we have Sue here. And for the purpose of the Department of Environmental Conservation holding a public hearing or a public information session on the Cranberry Mountain Management Plan. They've asked
Very
to,
interesting.
yeah, they've asked to use the room. And they have promised to get us a copy of the management plan before the meeting.
Good.
And I intend to post it up on the website.
There's no problem in them using the room.
I don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem.
No,
This-
fine with me.
Is this room big enough? Or they want
Yes,
to use
it's
the
big
rec
enough.
center?
They're also asking for a screen and projector. I'll
Oh, cool.
give them our usual.
Cranberry Mountain is off of Haviland Hollow? No.
It runs between Haviland Hollow because of the new DEC lands that they've taken, and
borders, yeah.
all the way up to Stagecoach Road
Okay.
and Birch Hill. Yeah,
Beautiful property.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next is lawn maintenance awards. We have 2 resolutions. One for seasonal maintenance and landscaping of town properties. I will just read a couple of these points. Whereas Colonial Landscaping has submitted the lowest bid proposal dated April 5th, 2016, and a full and complete copy of which is annexed hereto. And town board wishes to accept that bid. It's in the amount of $19,775. Be it resolved that the town board accept this and authorize the supervisor to sign all necessary documents. I'll make that motion. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Similar, we have seasonal lawn maintenance and landscaping of Putnam Lake Park District. And same thing there, that all seasons property maintenance of Patterson submitted the lowest proposal, which will cover a bid amount of $3,500 for the 2016 season, Memorial Ball Field only, and $7,560 for the beach areas. So I'll make a motion to approve this resolution as read, including authorizing the supervisor to sign all necessary documents. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
It's just guiding eyes for the pond. That right there. Wait a minute, let me see. Thank you, Rich. Thank you. Guiding Eyes for the Blind has completed the work on their property and requesting a return of, or releasing of the performance bond for that site, which their money, the balance is $13,171.25. So I will make a motion that the town board approve this resolution, releasing this performance bond, and the resolution as read. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
That's me.
Mr. Rogan, you're up.
Thank you, sir. Okay, first item I have originates back in 2009. I think, Charlie, you and I both were on the planning board for this project.
I
In fact,
think
I
so.
recall you voted, you seconded the motion, if I remember. No, I'm just teasing. This was the Couch Road subdivision, a six-lot
I did whatever you
subdivision
asked me to do.
that we created in 2009. We approved, we didn't create. And they posted a performance bond in the amount back then of $665,000 to assure compliance with the construction performance measures. And portions of that have been completed, and so upon recommendation from the planning board, the town, we're looking to reduce that bond from $665,000 down to $387,000. So I'll make a motion that we approve that request. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Second item we have was a letter from our Sheriff, Don Smith, to consider creating a proclamation for Teen Driver Safety Awareness Month in Putnam County. This is a very important issue. I'll read the proclamation. Whereas statistics and experience demonstrate that the greatest danger to our youth in Putnam County and throughout our country are the dangers posed from traffic crashes, and whereas highway crash statistics inform us that although teen drivers make up only 7% of the driving population, they comprise 18% of the injury-related automobile crashes. And whereas the leading cause of accidental deaths to our youthful population throughout the United States are automobile accidents, and whereas analysis shows that the reasons for the teen overrepresentation in injury-related automobile crashes include driver inexperience, excessive speed, unnecessary risk-taking, inattentive driving, and use of alcohol and drugs. And whereas in Putnam County, we have too often experienced a tragedy with the death of a teen driver at the wheel. Many of these deaths have occurred during the spring and summer months, with a high incidence rate during the period leading up to the prom season. And whereas all accidents are preventable and crash rates can be lowered through the use of education and awareness programs, through the use of our school systems, law enforcement programs, and youth service organizations, such as the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Junior ROTC programs, and the Civil Air Patrol. And whereas these programs work best when there is a period set aside for local government at every level, our school districts and churches, synagogues, and youth service organizations coming together to provide these educational programs. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Patterson declare April 2016 as Teen Driver Safety Awareness Month in Putnam County, and be it further resolved that we encourage all levels of government, our school districts, law enforcement, churches and synagogues, our youth service organizations, and all the citizens of Putnam County to support programs that promote teen driver safety awareness in Putnam County, thereby protecting two of our most precious resources, our children and our grandchildren. So I would like to approve that proclamation. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
Okay, the next item we have is a service contract for our wastewater treatment facility, and we have a service contract proposal from PAL Area Microfiltration Systems. And as I understand it, this is a contract whereby a company that has unique and special expertise in this area comes to the town. They do system inspection. They teach clean-in-place procedures to our contracted individuals, and they provide 24/7 tech support. So the proposal is for the year's contract to include those services at an amount of $12,290 to PAL Corporation. So I will move this resolution into the record. So moved.
Second.
For the record, they don't actually teach, they just come and clean it in place. If that's what they
That's
say,
what
then,
the-
yeah,
okay, then we
that's-
should talk to them because it says,
But they are the sole source provider for the microfiltration down at the wastewater treatment plant.
when I was reading the proposal, it said, thought it said, basically training the on-site people about best practices and how to run the system appropriately, and, okay.
The staff that we down there, the operator that we have down there is very, very knowledgeable about all this.
Okay, so do we need that?
Yes, we do need that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we do.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We have a request from Matt Chabarro, our Director of the Recreation Department, to rehire some staff. He's looking to rehire summer camp directors Christopher Santos for the basketball program and Michelle Ederer for the cheer camp at a rate of $23 per hour, as well as rehiring junior staff member Jade Lugaricio at $8.24 per hour, and Skylar Apramalo and Aaron Vaughan as a junior staff member of $8 per hour. So I'll move that, assuming that all the paperwork is submitted to Sue in a timely manner and prior to their start of employment, that we approve the recommendations to hire these staff. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Before we get too far.
Sure.
Do you want to talk any about
Yeah,
that? Or do you
absolutely.
want to deal with that one? Or do you want to just?
No, let's
Okay.
let's just overview. And I apologize, I skipped ahead in the agenda to the rec. It was
Eileen's
next
going to be
in line.
upset with you.
Eileen is? I'm sorry, Eileen. I'll have to send her flowers or something.
She would like that.
Okay, so we had two conversations with young men that are in college programs, both for environmental planning careers, both Patterson residents, and they were interested in internship possibilities with the town of Patterson. They sent us letters of interest, which I think prove that they're both outstanding candidates. In one case, it's a sophomore at SUNY Binghamton in environmental planning,
Yes.
and the other is, I believe, a master's, finishing his master's in. So he's just about ready to enter the workforce, and we have two people that are desperately looking for some real-world experience. So Rich, myself, the chairman and vice chairman of the planning board, Tom McNulty, and Ron Taylor, we met a few days ago and we brainstormed as to some of the potential projects that we could set these young men to working on for the town of Patterson. And we came up with a list that actually will take us 10 years worth of interns to work on. But what we did was we prioritized and we came up with some ideas in terms of working towards some master plan issues and assessments of the town's future growth and looking at properties that are not currently built and what the use is and how the effects of taking property off the tax rolls for open space, how that impacts the tax base. So we put together a list of various different projects that these young men can work on. And so Rich and I have been working on developing an internship program, which I think actually, it's funny we came to this point, but I think we really need to be here because I think any chance that we can have to have an impact on people's professional lives, especially Patterson youth, I think it's fantastic. And I think both gentlemen were willing, if need be, to work for free, but I think we'd like to certainly try to offer them some compensation for their
Correct.
time. And I think the projects and the talent that they bring, they have clearly two different levels of expertise based on their the level they are at in college. But I think that we can find places for both of them. It's just going to take a little bit of coordination. So that's something we're working on, and I think that's a real valuable project.
Correct, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. Tomorrow I intend to push out the list. I was waiting for Tommy McNulty to get back to me with any comments.
Sure.
Haven't heard anything, so tomorrow I'm going to push it out to the town board, to the planning board, so you can see some of the proposals that we think we may want to consider these gentlemen for.
That's great.
And I'm going to reach out to both the gentlemen to try to bring them in here. Get them
I
in here.
think that's fantastic. I think that's definitely a step in the right direction
Yep.
for just, staff development. You never know that these young men, a few years from now, could be looking for a job in the town. You just, I think it's great.
Yeah.
And anytime they can build their resume with some strong foundation experience, I think that's better than working a part-time job someplace else that's not career-related.
And I'm excited because one of the gentlemen, not only is, planning background, but he has GIS, and right now I'm the sole practitioner in the town
Okay.
for the GIS, and it would be great to bring somebody else in to do some work on our GIS system.
And the other item on the agenda refers to the maintenance position. We had advertised for a part-time, possibly full-time maintenance position. We had approximately 22 or 3 applicants, somewhere thereabouts. We narrowed that down to what we consider the top 5 candidates, and we interviewed them a little over a week and a half ago. 5 outstanding, talented people. In fact, many of them I think we all felt were overqualified for the job. It's just a sign of the market and the times. But we came away with very, very good feelings, really about all of them, but in particular 2 that seemed to really fit the needs of the town, with the idea that there are certain things that we are currently paying outside vendors that we could be doing in-house. And there's so many projects, as mentioned earlier, with MS4, stormwater maintenance, typical maintenance duties around town hall, the courts and the rec center. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And so we're working with the prospect of 2 of those candidates and trying to find ways to make that work, because I think that would be a tremendous asset to the town of Patterson if we can hire 2 of those gentlemen.
Correct.
So that's something that's ongoing.
Where we are with this, just to bring everybody up to speed, is I've been working with Trish. We've been trying to find sources of money within the budget that we can move around to account for both of them. Last year in the budget, they had cut the position to part-time. Frankly, none of us think it should be part-time, I believe.
Absolutely not.
That being said, I've been able to find sufficient funding for 1 full-time gentleman. We could probably bring the other one on part-time. You want to give me another 2 weeks, I may be able to figure out a way to make this all work for both full-time.
You know what I think would be great, though, is if we could at least in the interim reach out to the 2 gentlemen and just let them know that they're under serious consideration, so they have an idea.
That's been done.
Great, perfect.
That's been done.
Good, I think that's appropriate.
Okay, in your second interviews, have you really defined what you're expecting of each one?
We haven't done a second interview. We
Okay.
haven't brought him back in.
Make sure we have the money first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but really, I mean, I thought the interviews were really
They were-
great.
Yeah.
I just think that
Yeah.
now you get down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
You have to bring them in and say, here's the job description.
Sure.
Full-time or part-time, doesn't matter. But-
Because admittedly, the job was not narrowly defined because there's so many different paths that this can go in. There's so many needs that the town has. And so really, and that's part of why the job description was so vague. It was
Yeah.
on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even list salary.
And, just to be clear, I mean, I'm looking for the money.
Mhm.
Once we find the money, then we have to sit down and define the job.
Yeah,
And then we have to,
absolutely.
because I've talked to 2 of the gentlemen that they're still under serious consideration.
Good.
But the way I left the room is all 5 were still on the table.
Absolutely.
Because we haven't defined the job. And depending on how we define the job is where we may go with this. So actually, all 5 are still on the table as far as I'm concerned.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. Great. And then, should I wait for announcements?
No, we're at other business.
Okay. Under other business, I have several announcements. Let's start with Senator Terrence Murphy has the Moving Veterans Wall, which will be Monday, May 2nd, 2016 at 2 p.m. at the Mahopac Library, Route 6 in Mahopac. And this will be honoring the 2015 Putnam County inductees, which are Thomas Carney from Patterson, Raymond Callanan from Carmel and Mahopac area, Thomas Smith from Brewster, and Willis Stevens from Southeast. I don't know if that... Good, thank you. Okay, the next item, we have a drug identification and awareness, Putnam Lake Crime Prevention Training, 7 p.m. Monday, April 25th, 2016 at the Putt Lake Firehouse. As part of its crime prevention efforts, the Putt Lake Neighborhood Watch is hosting a program on drug identification and awareness. Putnam County Deputy Sheriff Kevin Radovich will talk about types of drugs and how they affect the body in different ways. He will also touch on the impact drug abuse has on our communities and how to be aware of drug-related activities. So this is a great program. Neighborhood Watch program is really coming together. Thank you to Councilman DeAndriano for pulling that off with the help of the Putnam Lake community. So information can be obtained at info@putnamlakeparkdistrict.com.
You have 1 second, Joe?
Sure.
Pat, do you have copies of that flyer? Okay, so you can put it up around the lake?
Yeah, we have them up around the lake already, Joe, but we'll leave some here for town hall too.
Okay, great. I have an announcement through Putnam County for Putnam County Suicide Prevention Task Force. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is hosting a conversation on reducing access to lethal means, Wednesday, April 20th from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Tops Building Auditorium, which is on the Donald B. Smith campus in Carmel, 112 Old Route 6. For more information on this event, you can call the Mental Health Association of Putnam at 845-278-7600. Again, that's a conversation on reducing access to lethal means. The Suicide Prevention Task Force, Wednesday, April 20th, 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at Tops. And lastly, and this I think is we were just talking about this, I'm glad you found this. We were talking about the recycling issues and how we are trying so hard to increase our recycling and saving on the amount that goes into the landfills. And so, and specifically, I'm working through the sanitation contracts. I really became aware of what you're putting in the garbage, and I've tried so hard to get that to that 75-25, and I'm certainly not there yet, but I think I'm about 50-50. And we realize there's not great education in the town of Patterson about what can go into the recyclables and what can't. And so it looks like Rich found this great little recycling bins dirty.
Well, it came from our highway
Well,
superintendent.
thank you. You mean our sanitation administrator?
That's it.
Okay. And the recycling's dirty dozen. It says no plastic bags, no materials in plastic bags, no shredded paper, no scrap metal, no hazardous waste such as containers of oil, batteries. Those things can be brought to your hazardous waste cleanup day, which actually Putnam County is having on May 7th, I believe, Saturday. I think it's Saturday, May 7th. That's usually probably at Fawnstock. No diapers or biohazard waste. So there's a nice little, we'll post this. Can we post this on the website?
Well, actually, we've got something else we're going to put up there.
Okay.
This flyer actually comes from the place that we send our recycling material to.
From Reed, right?
One of the things I do want to correct on that, it says no shredded paper.
Yeah.
To clarify that, no loose shredded paper and no shredded paper in anything but a clear bag.
Oh.
And we're about to post that up
Great.
on the website, so a little bit more education on recycling up on our website.
I think these are the types of things we spoke about adding in with mailers, whether it's tax bills, assessments, any of those items. Anytime we have a mailer going, I think we need to take good use of that. Send out something on recycling, anything about what's going on in the town. I think it's a great, doubling of that mailing.
When you're saying shredded paper, you're sending something that's physically went through a shredder, not
Yeah.
like tearing your junk mail in half.
No.
Okay.
No. Lord knows, we all tear our tear our junk mail in half.
I take great pleasure in it.
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
You're all set.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
We have received 2 letters from our fire departments about adding new members. So I will read that we've been advised by the Patterson Fire Department that they're adding the following members: Adam Kroger, Patterson, Larry Maxwell, Patterson, Paul Pina, Patterson, Andrew Rossi, Patterson, Frank Sabatini, Carmel, Sean Terwilliger, Carmel. I'll make a motion that the town board approve the addition of these members to the fire department's roster. So moved.
Second.
Antoinette, there was some additional information the fire department needed to provide. With those, did they provide that?
No, not yet.
Okay.
They sent it to them yet.
Well,
All right, so we're approving it based on the receipt of,
the additional information as required by contract.
right. Next, we have
All
a,
in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Next, we have a letter from the Putnam Lake Fire Department adding the following individual: Randall Sant, Brewster, New York, to their roster. So I will make a motion, town board approve Mr. Sant and as a member of the Putnam Lake Fire Department. Did his paperwork come in?
Oh, no, I'm
Yes, it
sorry. I
did.
think he did.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I have one item that I'll just bring out as a dovetailing into teen driver safety awareness. I don't know how many people know, but Carmel High School seniors, between 200 or 300 of them, participated in an assassin game in May and June, where each of them put in like $5. They all get a water gun. They pick a name out of a hat, and your task for that week is to assassinate your person with your name. And eventually it all plays out that the last man standing may collect, the prize. It's a great, it's a fun event, but in the course of having raised 4 seniors at Carmel High School, I've come out to find kids lying under my car at 6:30 in the morning, hiding in the bushes. My one son almost got hit by a car when he was leaving the gym and ran to his car because someone was trying to catch him as he was coming out of the gym, which you can do. So if you have a senior at Carmel High School, it's a fun game, but you might want to talk to them about teen driver safety as it relates to that hiding under cars is probably not the best idea. Things there's some crazy things they do. So just maybe dovetailing on teen driver safety awareness, that might be something you might want to talk to your teen about. So. And also, if you see teenagers crouching in bushes with water guns, that's normal for May or June. So it's a public service announcement.
And one other thing that there'll be the military
That's right.
semi-annual show at the Recreation Department, Saturday, April 23rd. I believe it's between 9 and 4. So that's it.
All good?
Yep.
All right, I have just 2 additional pieces of business. One, to let you know that today we received notice that our reassessment aid for 2015, we had been anticipating we were going to get somewhere in the order of $10,000. This year came in at $17,310.21. So we should be getting that check very shortly,
Nice.
so that's good news for us.
Mhm.
The bad news is New York State failed to budget properly.
So then I can pass.
No, so they cut our aid to 75.6% of what they had promised. So,
They can just do that.
yeah, they can just
They're
do
a
that.
state, they can do that.
Yes. The second issue that I have, when we built the sewer treatment plant, we put it online in 2008. One of the contractors, Laws Construction, who did most of the site work, felt that they were owed more money than what they were paid, and actually started litigation with the town, seeking somewhere in the order of $122,000 worth of additional compensation. As time went on, we found that they hadn't properly done the work out at Covington Greens. And actually, we had to hire a private contractor to go in and close out the septic tanks that were supposed to be closed out by them. That cost the town roughly about $26,000. So we actually filed a counterclaim. I was in court Tuesday with Tim Curtis, who was representing the town on the issue. We were going to trial. Prior to trial, I met with all the parties and all the attorneys, and we had a very substantial conversation about their understanding of what was required versus ours. With interest, we were looking at potentially $43,000. However, we had a very shaky case going in, and I knew we did. Essentially, our position was that the contractor hadn't fulfilled his responsibility. He hadn't done the job according to contract. The difficulty we had that as we were going through the process of constructing the wastewater treatment plant, there was some back and forth between the engineers about the proper way to close out the galleys and the septic tanks. And at the end of the day, both the engineer that was providing oversight to the construction and the town board at the time signed off on the fact that they allowed the contractor to move from a lump sum in doing the work to a time and material basis. And the contractor then put in his payment request on a time and material basis, which showed all the materials, and at that time both the engineer and the town signed off that the materials were sufficient and that it was closed out. So we didn't have much going in, and I knew we didn't have, so I agreed to a settlement pending the board's acceptance of that settlement to move this forward, recognizing the attorney fees that we've spent on this so far. The good news is we did win on the $122,000 claim, so we're not going to be owing them that portion of the matter.
So it's a net settlement in our favor.
So it is a settlement, it is in our favor. They wanted peanuts. We didn't get much more than peanuts, but I did push them up a little bit. They have offered $3,500 to settle the matter. And it's my recommendation to the board that we accept this settlement because I don't think if we go in before the judge based on the facts of the case that we're going to prevail.
And we would have been paying that to try the case.
And we would have been paying to try the case, and it would
Right.
probably cost us about $3,500.
Right.
So-
I'm fine with that.
So, you have a resolution in front of you. I'd like to introduce the resolution accepting the settlement with Laws Construction Corporation. I'd like to enter the resolution in the minutes as the read. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public recognition.
Pat Ploger, the two gentlemen in back of me, and I use that word advisedly, said ladies first. I have a question about there's some confusion over in Putnam Lake about the new trash pickup schedule and bulk pickup, meaning if you leave things out like couches, they will magically disappear. I went onto the town's website, and under garbage district number 1, there's a little insert in there in small print that says effective March 3rd, I believe it was the date, a AAA carting would be picking up the trash on Thursdays and the recyclables on Fridays. But right above it, it says trash pickup day is on Wednesday. So that may be part of the confusion. If you can go and ask our IT guy to
We'll take a look at that
change
tomorrow.
that,
Take a look at
number
that.
1. And since people never got that letter that they were supposed to get from AAA about the new schedule, A lot of people just do not know about it, and I see trash going out and recyclables going out on Wednesdays, so,
Ms. Erical, did you
Don't
receive the
know.
letter? No.
no, nobody in Putnam Lake, to my knowledge, received a letter about this new change.
Okay.
So we're kind of, I mean, those of us who know, obviously, are doing it properly, right, Mike?
Yeah, but they don't pick up properly sometimes.
Yes.
There's a,
We've become aware of that as well. so.
yeah, there's a problem. They're ironing out some little things. Also, I think the recycling requirements from AAA may be different from the town's pickup requirements and/or the recycling center. So if the town could look into that and then put underneath garbage district number 1 how AAA wants it done.
Well, I'll talk to
Because the
AAA tomorrow about
yeah.
how they want it done. But
Yeah.
the bid specifications and the contracts, or the contract for AAA,
Mm-hmm.
the recycling programs were basically the same.
But is it what or how?
I guess what and how. For example, shredded. They accept shredded paper in with the junk mail. They take all fibrous material, folded, all other material, and then usually, the usual exceptions: oil and electronics and so forth. It just, I think, is much easier for Putnam Lake residents, garbage district number 1 residents, to see the schedule and then see what the recyclables are, even though it may be slightly repetitious.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Martin Miller, Patterson. A point of information, this Friday and Saturday, Patterson Rotary Club will be doing pickup on Route 22 as we have twice a year. And at our Tuesday meeting, I will inform the people there, our members, that about April 30th, hopefully we get some of us to join. And if you have nothing to do in a few weeks, April 30th, we have Menu Cook, our big fundraiser at the Star Ridge Hall. So, and another question I have, coming here to the meeting tonight, is there an ordinance in the town of Patterson for skateboards and sidewalks and these new hoverboards? A young man was riding around, a lady was, trying to walk because it's nice out. And of course, he just stood there and she had to go on the road and then go around him. So I don't know if there's an ordinance or what we can do.
I don't believe there is an ordinance regarding skateboards on the sidewalks. There is about bicycles,
Yeah.
but I don't believe it covers skateboards or hoverboards. So we can look into that.
No, it's just, like I said, the lady, I don't know who these people are and where, but, she made an effort. At least the young man should have walked.
How old was the young
I
man,
would
do you
say 13 to 15. I'm not sure. But anyway, just a thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, Bruce Major, 166 Somerset. Sean mentioned to me before the meeting that Pete will be going for surgery tomorrow. Is that the case?
I didn't know that was for public, but.
Oh, well, the issue is I've been looking at the agendas for the last 3 months, and Peter has not been to the last 6 town board meetings, including tonight, nor 2 special meetings. And I think it would be appropriate for the board to let the folks know why one of our council people is not here representing us.
I will be happy to convey your thoughts to Mr. D'Andriano, and if he wishes to respond, we'll do so accordingly.
Okay, is he still collecting his pay?
It's a personnel matter. I don't think we can really comment on it.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you because he is an elected official.
Right.
He's not an employee that you're dealing with. He's an elected official. He's receiving a salary, I believe, and he's not here. And what I'm asking is, has he informed this board as to the reasons why he cannot be here at the town board meetings?
Yes.
Okay. And does it have anything directly to do with medical, or does it have anything to do with other reasons?
That I'm not going to comment any further on that right now.
Okay. So, Rich, let me ask you this question. If you couldn't be here tonight, who would run the town board meeting?
Deputy supervisor.
The town board would, at that point, have to designate somebody to run the board meeting.
But we have a deputy town supervisor who is being paid, I believe, just over $2,000 a year to fulfill that position. And my question is this: seeing he hasn't been to the last 6 town board meetings and hasn't been to the 2 special meetings you had, why would you continue him in that position as deputy town supervisor when it appears that he's unable to fulfill his responsibilities to the community?
Because I'm hoping that in the next few weeks it resolves itself. If it doesn't resolve itself in the next few weeks, then I'll have to consider further action.
Okay.
I'm not going to comment on what that may
Well,
be.
one would hope so. We had a situation where a town board member left. This board voted not to replace that person. Kevin was one of those members who voted not to replace him. We had another vacancy, and Kevin once again voted not to replace that position, although the Republicans did replace him with Sean. And it appears now we have another, how should I say, elected council person who's not showing up or doing his work. And the question is this: how much longer should the folks have to pay a salary to someone who it doesn't appear is doing his job? And that's the question I have. And one would hope that the folks will get a better response than, well, we'll have to wait and see. Thank you.
Anyone else? Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.